Police officers of Reddit, what was something you saw someone do that made you say wait, is that illegal? There's a bar behind my house. Sometimes I grab a ladder and hop the fence to get there. One time I was hopping back over and got stopped. The cop ran my DL and said, "You do you." Once I was drunk at a bar that only had one toilet for men and one for women, and the lines were way too long during a football game. So I went outside to pee. I ended up getting a ticket for urinating in public. The next day I look up the code the officer cited me for, and it was the equivalent of littering. But you see, in all my glory I actually had the decency to pee into a trash can. So I prepared my defense to show up in court and plead to the judge that I was innocent because you can't litter into a trash can. The officer didn't show up to court, so I ended up getting off, but I still wonder how hard the judge would laughed in my face. Winter, Minnesota, 12 AM. I'm at my dad's house for a visit. He gets too tired to drive me home and tells me to take his truck. I take the truck and head down a steep hill of a street. The truck sounds weird, but I figure it's the 4WD in the snow/ice I'm driving on. Police lights behind me. I slowly pull over. I get out of large truck as the officer comes over. "Excuse me, miss, did you know you're plowing Madison Avenue in the middle of the night?" Me, "So that's what all the noise is? I don't know what's going with this thing." He probably wanted to give me a ticket for stupidity and illegal midnight plowing. Instead, he helped me get the plow up, then followed me home to make sure I was safe. My state doesn't allow underglow on normal vehicles, but encourages extra lighting like that on motorcycles. My state has highway patrollers who tell you you're only allowed to have amber colored turn signals. I face palmed so hard when the cop told me this because he pulled me over in a Crown Vic, a car that has red turn signals on the back. Repeatedly driving around a roundabout like 25 times in a row. Edit, where I'm in Australia, QLD, it is not illegal. Judging by the comments it seems to be illegal in Switzerland and Germany and some US states. A drunk man, dry humping a tree. My old physics teacher told me a story where he got caught doing that. He was at uni, on a night out with his friends. He decided it would be a good idea to push over some lampposts. Push lamppost, watch its oscillation and match it. After doing several lampposts he saw a tree and tried to do that. So there he was, on a road with several bent lampposts, arms wrapped round a tree, staring at the top of it and giving it repeatedly body shoves, when a police officer comes along and asks him what he is doing. A drunk on an electric scooter, drunk on a bike, will get you a DUI where I'm from, because a bike is considered a vehicle. No idea if an electric scooter would fall under the same rule. DUI on horseback is shockingly common in Wyoming. I've heard of these sometimes being dropped, stating that the horse knows the way home. I had a cop try to give me a ticket for sleeping in my car on the side of the road in a residential area. I was too tired to continue driving home after a visit with my Cs, so I took a ramp off the interstate and parked and took a nap to avoid an accident, literally doing what they recommend to avoid endangering people on the road. I forget the charge, but he basically tried to slap me with some fine that particular area gives to homeless people. Homeless people, if they loiter or hang around too long. Took me a full half hour to convince the guy I wasn't homeless. I was leaving to drive the rest of the way home ASAP, and I was doing what I knew to be safe, and that the 2 fire engines and 3 squad cars they deployed were insanely unnecessary even if I was. Guy just seemed pissed as I was to get a call in the night from whatever rich Scadapus couldn't handle some guy taking a con nap and minding his own damn business. Not a police officer. When I was 20, I drove my friend to the liquor store, since she didn't have a car at the time. It was being shipped across country, since she was moving in a couple days. So, being underage, I stayed in the car. There was a cop sitting in a parking lot across the street. As soon as my friend came back, we pulled out and drove off. Cop followed and pulled us over. Gives me a ticket, takes the booze. Apparently, you cannot drive with alcohol in a vehicle if you are underage, even if there is somebody of age in the vehicle. So, in theory, you cannot drive your parents to the grocery store and drive them home if they bought booze. I had never heard of such a thing, and everyone who I have told about this since has also been dumbfounded. I go to my court date. Judge calls my name. I stand at the podium and they read the charges. After that, the DA just kinda stares blankly. I don't see the problem. There was someone of age in the vehicle. The prosecutor reads the law, statute, whatever. The DA kinda shrugged her shoulders and said okay, it doesn't make sense to me, but it's the law. My friend breaking apart a bundle of bananas and only taking 2. I was 20 when I learned that was totally and completely okay to do. Driving above the posted school zone speed limit when the sign states 20 miles per hour when children are present. Well then what constants present? Children inside the school? Children playing well away from the road in the fenced-in yard? Just school hours in general? During after-school sports and activities? No idea. So, unless someone's blatantly reckless and an asshole, I won't stop people for driving over the posted 20. Some family reported their car as stolen. When I asked them to come to the station for the hearing, they just told me it was never stolen. They left it in a car dealer to be sold. The business went wrong and the dealer would not pay them what they wanted or return the car. So they reported it stolen because that way the police will get the car back faster. They were very simple people and I figured a way not to screw them over this. Edit. I forgot to mention all of this was in Brazil. The law may be different in other countries and define such situation as theft. Edit 2. Since this got a reasonable attention and people are asking how it is not theft, I'll reproduce a few of the answers I gave to the comments. A. It was on consignment. Thanks you / QOE. They verbally agreed to let the car on the dealer, transferred the title to the dealer, and would receive a set amount of money for it once it was sold. The dealer did sell the car, but shortly after went broke and could not fulfill his end of the agreement. They were aware of the situation and, in order to get the car back ASAP, they falsely reported it as stolen, saying it was parked outside the house at night and gone by the morning. When I called them to hear more about it, they told me the truth, saying the report was just a way to get the car back faster. Falsely report a crime is a crime in Brazilian law. B. I said simple people, but it was a bad choice of words. I meant uneducated people. C. Why is not theft under Brazilian law? Brazilian law crime has different conducts that are defined as crime. Simplified, it goes like this. Theft, taking something from someone while they are not aware. X. Stealing a car parked on the street. Pickpocketing. Robbery, using violence or serious threatening to compel someone to give you something. X. Robbing someone at gunpoint. Unlawful appropriation, giving something to someone under the condition that they will return it after a set amount of time, and then this person simply keeps it for good. X. Lend you my car for 1 week, after that time you won't return to it to me. Scamming, using fraud to convince someone to give you something that he/she does not own you. X. Selling somebody the title to real estate on the moon. These are the crimes more closely related to the situation that happened. Still, can you see that none of them perfectly fit the conducts? That's the case. They let the car with the dealer, so no stealing or robbery. It was not intended to be returned to them, so no unlawful appropriation. The dealer got the car in good faith, but went broke and couldn't fulfill his part of the deal, so no scamming. That's why I'm saying it was not a criminal matter. It has to be settled in a civil court. The dealer probably declared bankruptcy, I declare bankruptcy, and the family is put in a list of people they own money to. Probably the judge will repossess the car and give it back to them, and whoever bought the car in good faith will also be put in that list. Is pretty complex. Some people like employees have priority over other creditors, all that. Long things short, the dealer went broke and couldn't fulfill their verbal agreement, as many others agreements he struck, I assume. Civil court will probably confiscate his assets in order to pay his creditors. Sorry for any misspelled words, not my first language. My dog ran out into the street and into the side of a driving car. Crazy lady, whose son was driving, got out and started threatening to call the cops because a dog dented and scratched her car. After she left, my mom called the cops to see if there was anything we could be held accountable for. Cop, was it on your property? Mom, no. Cop, was your dog driving a car? Mom, no. Cop, you're fine. Edit. To be clear, the dent this lady was referring to had white paint marks. The dent was not where our dog hit their car, and we do not paint our dogs. You can turn left on a red light from a one-way street to another one-way street in most states and provinces. For us Canadian boys, you need to stop and yield just like a right turn on a red light. It does seem illegal when you do it though.